What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video, and today, as you guys saw by the title, we ended up taking a W. And before I even get started on all that, I just want to say thank y'all for all the support on the last couple videos. I appreciate it. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. We're probably at like 77, so I would appreciate it if you guys subscribed. But let's get into this trade recap. Reset chart. And today we did end up taking a L before we got the W. And yeah, so today on the 4-hour, I ended up waiting for this to be made, right? Once we made this, we had this 4-hour imbalance, which that got made at like 10, I'm pretty sure. But we also had this 1-hour unmitigated area down here. On NQ, same thing, 1-hour unmitigated area. And a big thing for today for me was basically, honestly, equilibrium. So I set out equilibrium from here to here on both Nasdaq and ES, which equilibrium is this kind of like red line you see here, right? So it was two things for me. Either I find an entry, right, because we were starting to come up, starting to come down, right? We've broken 5-minute structure here already previously. So I was like, all right, so two things. Either we come down or something, mitigate these, come back up, and I find an entry to equilibrium and to this hourly imbalance, or we end up coming down, revisit this hourly imbalance, right? End up hitting macro or whatever. Price was going to tell me regardless what was going to happen, right? And we hit the imbalance, and we start moving back up. So that was kind of like my whole idea for today. There was really no liquidity sweeps, no areas like that kind of, right? There was only more like imbalances. So on the 15-minute, we end up dumping here on Nasdaq. As you can see, we end up tapping the hourly imbalance, but we never do on ES, as you can see right here, right? We end up coming down, make a SMT, and I'm like, okay, well, looks like I'm pretty bullish. So on the 5-minute, I end up just staying in the 5-minute, seeing what's going on. We end up breaking 5-minute structure here, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just looking for the inverse, which the inverse happened here. Why does this look like that? Okay, the inverse happened here. And my first trade was going to look like this if I liked the trade a lot more, but I didn't like it enough. Like this, boom, boom, a cool little 1-to-1. Either way, we wouldn't have hit. But the reason I didn't like it is because this is 15-minute highs up here. This is an hourly imbalance up here as well. So I was like, you know what? I don't like the trade, so I'm gonna just be patient. And I ended up waiting, seeing what price action ended up doing, right? So on the 15-minute, on ES, we end up tapping, right? This was a 15-minute unmitigated area. Boom, we tap into it, and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. So on ES, we end up making the SMT favoring ES, right? And Nasdaq, we never get up to these highs, meaning we had the SMT. We end up then inversing well, actually, this is where I went wrong, right? So we make the 5-minute SMT, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to like this because I still have a reasoning as to why price action can come down. What is my reasoning? We never hit that hourly imbalance on ES, right? So we did on Nasdaq right here, but we never did on ES, right? Right here. So I saw price action basically coming down and tapping back into that. So there was a reasoning for price to go lower, in my opinion. Another thing is, if I set out equilibrium, 5-minute equilibrium from here to here, we end up hitting equilibrium once, come back down, respect it, hit equilibrium once again, and I'm like, okay, if we end up inversing this 5-minute, I'm gonna take it to the downside, right? But I ended up getting impatient. I ended up entering when we had a minute left in this imbalance, right? So it hadn't been formed yet, and I end up entering once we inverse. I'm gonna delete this so you guys can see it. Once we inverse this last 1 minute imbalance, I end up entering short position here. I think I entered off of the retap right there and set stop loss right here. I know we barely get stopped out, bro. Had I set it here, it would have been a good trade. We would have been up for the day for sure. And basically target the same thing, 1 to 2. But we end up getting stopped out. As you guys saw, we get stopped out here, and I'm like, okay, let me see. I end up getting stopped out. I go back on the 5 minute, and I see that we end up we're like respecting the crap out of this 5 minute bullish imbalance. And then once I see we come back down and inverse it, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to retry this trade again. Why? Because I still see price coming down lower. And we're hitting equilibrium, and we just saw this huge bearish movement inversing all these things, mitigating all this, and I don't see any river to cross here, right? Like if price dumps, I see it dumping straight down because there's nothing here that can stop it. So once I see that we end up making this retracement back up, and on the 5 minute I go here and I just wait for that last minute, it inverses, go back to the minute. I see that we make this huge move down, right? Huge move down, basically making back up this big move. I end up entering, retrying my trade again, and we end up getting out here for 24%, and it leaves us off at 587. So we technically made like 60, 70, like 30 something dollars. But on the first trade, we ended up risking like 150 around there. So we lost. We were down some, like, I can't remember, like 4, maybe 3 something. And then we went back up, you know what I mean? So thankfully, I stayed dialed in. I only risked about 150 here, to be honest. Yeah, I was in here with 6 micros. Yeah, 142. And price just went straight down. So it was a good trade. If you guys won today, good stuff. If you didn't, bro, it's okay. Remember, day trading is like this. You win, you lose. I'm still a student of the game. I'm learning every single day, bro. Like I'm only about like 9 to 10 months in, probably around there. And like I still read my daily script. If you guys don't know, like I still do the things I've shown you guys. So with that being said, losses are inevitable. The only thing about a loss is if it was your plan and if it was everything you needed and you took the loss, then it's fine because it was your edge, you know what I mean? So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, comment. My Instagram and TikTok are in the description below, and I might end up posting a video later as well, so stay tuned for that. And I'll catch you guys maybe tomorrow because we do have CPI news tomorrow, so I don't know, it depends. It's at 8:30. We'll see how big that candle is, but yeah, I'll catch you guys the next time I trade. Peace.